So on the unemployment numbers, I think one thing that's worth understanding is the top line headline unemployment number, 14.7%, really measures, understates the weakness of the labor force. Because right now there is almost an equal amount, almost about 15%, maybe Steve Leisman might have a comment on this, of other kinds of distress in the labor market. 6.4 million people have dropped out of the labor force in April. They're not actually looking for work anymore. They're not counted in the unemployment numbers. That's about another 4% of the labor force. There are also two parts of the part-time work community that are very large. There are part-time workers who have been forced into part-time work from full-time work and would like to work full-time. That increased by 5 million in April, which is another 3% of the labor force. And then there are other part-timers who stopped looking for full-time work because they're discouraged, and that's up, and that increased. That's another 8% of the labor force. So if you add all those numbers up, you've got about another 15% of the labor force that is in some degree of economic distress. This is a very, very weak labor market at this point. Not to be no surprise at all, but we should understand that but beneath the numbers, it looks even worse, is my only point.
Glenn, that's fair commentary, because I think everybody is trying to figure out how long these layoffs will last, how long the furloughs will last, how many of those jobs eventually come back, how many don't. But I want to draw your attention to some comments from Brian Moynihan, who joined us earlier this morning, too, the CEO of Bank of America. He said that when he's looking at bank statements from his customers, anybody who's got $5,000 or less, their cash balance is actually about 30 to 40% higher. Now, that's obviously because of the payments that came in from the government, the stimulus that's been coming from that. But that's actually a surprising number, and maybe a better statistic than I would have anticipated.
Well, it doesn't surprise me, Becky. I listened to Brian. He's a very sharp guy. Because I think in addition to the policy move that was taken to give everybody money, you would expect that to have hit people's bank accounts by now. You've got two other major things that have occurred. One is that people are precautionary saving. During this time period, one of the things that makes the cycle worse is that rather than spend money, as you sort of might want people to do to get the economy going, and they actually save money because they're cautious. And then the other thing here is that because of the lockdowns, people have just consumed a lot less of the stuff they would otherwise consume. And so it doesn't surprise me at all. And I would just suggest that remember that the economic pain of this crisis has been concentrated in the lower echelons of the labor force. And those aren't necessarily people who are bankers, are banking at Bank of America. And they also aren't necessarily people who are actually banked in the classic way. So I'm also not sure that number gives us a good view of the lower echelon of the labor force.